all set up for offline password attacks where we'll take our hashes and run them through cracking software, and only when we've gotten the correct answer will we log in to a service. We will now try something different. This is going to be online password cracking, so if I could possibly confuse you more by getting the hashes and then doing online password cracking and then doing offline password cracking, you can see where I'm going here. We want to try something a little bit different. Sometimes we may not be able to get password hashes. We may just want to guess usernames and passwords. We may be able to find valid usernames, like with our information gathering, or we saw that verify verb for SMTP that could find us valid usernames. May see them going across the wire. Things like that. We may just be able to guess. They may be defaults, like MS SQL probably has an SA account. Things like that. So we can guess. There are tools for that. One is Hydra, like the mini-headed water serpent. So well named there, since we're basically going to send out mini guesses. So you can think of those as the heads. So this is loud and does have a tendency to lock out accounts and get noticed. You might even get your IP blocked. It's like, oh, lots of password attempts. Someone's trying to break in. So that might get you caught, but in our case, we don't have that problem. So what you can do is Hydra, and then little L, you just give it one username. You can use a big L to specify a list of usernames, so you can guess usernames and password lists. So I'll just set the user as Georgia. Little p, one password. Big P is a list of passwords. So I just made a really, you could say, stupid password list because it only has, 5 entries, and they're all based on the word password. When we do our offline password cracking, we'll see some better word lists that we have in Kali, and of course you can always download some other password lists. There's, a whole form of security research where people spend all their time working on password cracking. Since that's the way you get into systems, it's a worthwhile way to spend your time. So there are lots of password lists out there that you can use, though we'll see a couple that are already in Kali. But this is just kind of a dummy password list so we can see it work. So again, we want Hydra, little L, user Georgia, big P, passwords.text, IP address that we want to attack, so we're going to go after XP, and then the service. So I can actually, instead of saying port 21, I can actually say FTP, and it'll sort that out for us. And sure enough, as we found out previously in our traffic capture section, we see that Georgia's password is password, so that will allow us to log in as Georgia. Essentially see something interesting. Creditcards.text. We've already seen it. Just says fake credit card numbers or something. Yeah, fake credit card numbers. So not too terribly exciting there. And we also, I don't think in the previous section, we actually went and grabbed passwords.text from anonymous FTP, which we could have done. We saw that previously as well, but that's not really a password attack. So I should have done it in the last set of videos, but these things happen. So that's just an example of an online password attack. There are many other protocols that Hydra knows how to talk to. And should say, so here's all the services, so lots of different things it knows how to talk to. But again, this is loud and is likely to lock out accounts and possibly even get your IP address blocked. So it's generally not something I go for right off the top of my head, but it can be useful. If I am going to do things like this, I usually do things that are more of an educated guess rather than sending it like thousands of password attempts, unless I specifically know it's not going to lock me out or the client has specifically asked for this sort of thing. I much more often find myself doing these offline attacks like we'll do. I often have to dump the password hashes out of the domain controller and then do a password test. So I'll do something similar to what we're going to do in the next video with cracking the hashes with a very strong password cracking system with some good industry standard word lists and rule sets and see how many of the passwords I can crack in a certain amount of hours. So that kind of shows what a attacker who's doing the same thing would be able to do. But you always have your online password cracking as well, and Hydra's a good tool for that.